previous screencast, we set up geozones, created users, imported a provisioning tool project, and completed the configuration of an outdoor lighting system by defining dimming profiles and assigning them to control groups. Now we will continue by learning about how alarms are defined, how to access devices in real time, the data management capabilities that exist in the tool, learn a little bit about reports and data history, and some of the troubleshooting capabilities that are part of the CMS. The LumInsight CMS provides a comprehensive alarm management system that is used to drive maintenance efficiencies. Let's walk through the process of defining a service alarm. We're going to go ahead and create an alarm. We're going to define this as a service alarm, and we're going to specify in which geozone the devices are monitored. So we're going to go ahead and select the geozone for our project and select the alarm type that we want to trigger on. Reports the faults that we're selecting here. We also specify how often the alarm service processes data logs to look for these alarms. And finally, we have to specify what we want to do with the alarms. We can generate email events to users in the system. We're going to go ahead and have Rob G receive these service alarms. It is possible to configure the smart server to use the pulse count 2 input as a cabinet monitoring alarm. We can attach a dry contact to this input and set up an alarm condition that triggers immediately as soon as the cabinet is opened. These events happen in real time, probably within seconds of the occurrence. Here's a cabinet alarm that was delivered by the CMS. Next, we'll do a little bit of real-time control of the system. So go ahead and select the real-time control. We're going to drill into this particular segment controller, and we're going to select to do group control functions. We're going to go ahead and select the north group, and you'll see a control panel that allows us to do a number of different override functions within the group. I'm going to go ahead and issue a temporary request to go to the mid scene. We do the apply, that actually sends the command down to the controller and then distributes it to the devices. We'll do a refresh, and we'll see now that the group controller is operating as a temporary override. Next, we'll go back to the geozone view and ask for the CMS to get the point status of all the devices operating in this geozone. This will basically confirm the conditions that resulted from that last group command. You'll see that the north devices have received the command and are operating at the mid-level. Also from the map view, I can double click on a specific OLC and interact directly with it. I can drive temporary level commands directly into the device and see what the results are by pressing refresh. The segment controller properties gives us access to some controls that control how much data is produced by the system. By going to the polling manager, we can select high, mid, low, and minimum resolution. At high resolution, data is recorded every 10 seconds. At minimum resolution, only at change. Most of the times, operating in the minimum data reporting works just fine. The CMS also provides controls for the log manager settings. The log manager determines when data logs are forwarded from the segment controller to the CMS. There's a tremendous amount of flexibility as far as the times and how logs are delivered. Typically, they are delivered once a day at 9 o'clock. With the data history functions, we can drill into the data that was delivered by the historical data logs. We can select any device in the system and look at the details of the individual data parameters that are monitored by the OLC and finally reported through the data logs. We can select a date range and look at any parameter in any detail. The troubleshooting functions in the CMS give us the ability to reach into the devices and check the status very quickly. I can go ahead and select all the devices on a segment controller, do a test, and this will verify the current operating level and whether there are any faults reported. As you can see, the north section lights are still operating at the 50% override that we did in the group control earlier. The troubleshooting section also gives access to some of the OLS framework details of operation. The polling statistics gives us a detailed view of power line polling. When we click on this, we'll see details of the number of attempts, the number of successes, what the typical polling time is to scan all the points. This gives a powerful at-a-glance view of power line communication performance. Finally, let's take a quick look at the reports view in the CMS. From the reports view, I can get a top-level view of how the system is performing and see where things need to be serviced. I could look at individual geozones or bubble up to a top-level geozone and see how all my sites are performing. I could go down into the details and look at the history at which cabinets were accessed. A lighting services company will spend a lot of time in the reports section to direct maintenance services. This concludes our tour of the LumInsight CMS. We've reviewed how alarms are defined, we've done some real-time access, we've looked at the data management capabilities, the reports and data history capabilities, and troubleshooting that is available in the LumInsight CMS. I hope you found this informative.